Yo, what's good? It's your man, 100 Grand Ross, but the rock never stops. Yo, the Portland Trailblazers are petty as fuck, and they simply don't want Damian Lillard to win. I'm going to dive into that in this video. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. If you agree or disagree, holler at me in the comment section. But you know the drill. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. It really helps out with the channel. The NBA season is coming upon us. Probably the last big blockbuster deal, unless Harden gets traded anytime soon, which I doubt. This is the crescendo of the offseason. Damian Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks. Let me just start off by saying, some of y'all are probably wondering, why do I think that Portland doesn't want to see Damian Lillard win a championship? They sent him to Milwaukee. They're a championship contending team. He makes them a contender. Here's the thing. They had to send him to a contender. You know why? Because Damian Lillard put them on notice and put the league on notice and said, I'm only going to play with a contender. If you trade for me, I'm not coming to training camp. I'm not going there. So trade for me if you want. You won't see me. And so that narrowed the scope to only contending teams. Of those contending teams, the only ones to have competitive offers were Milwaukee and Miami. And because Dame asked for Miami, Portland chose Milwaukee. Let's get that understood. Secondly, let's get it understood. Portland had the deal for DeAndre Ayton for Yusuf Nurkic in the bag, done long before this Damian Lillard trade came to be. Grayson Allen was a mere throw-in as a contract filler. That was not a part of the Damian Lillard trade. So let's start there. Now, when we look at the history of the Portland Trailblazers with Damian Lillard, and this is where I come from, right? I don't do the whole recency bias thing and just look at Damian Lillard requesting the trade and then saying I only want to go to Miami, because they're the team that I think fits best. And this is where I want to go. And everybody starts there. You got to start back from square one. He gets drafted there. They see an emerging superstar talent. They have LaMarcus Aldridge, a multiple-time All-Star. And they failed to keep those two together. They failed to get through to LaMarcus Aldridge that, you're going to have opportunity to play with a generational talent that's going to give you an opportunity to compete for championships. There's a reason why he was willing to leave Portland for San Antonio. San Antonio. I've been to San Antonio, Texas. It is nothing to write home about. Look, I know people might be from Texas. You might even be from San Antonio. Be like, hey, bro, quit talking about my city. Bro, I've been there. I've been around the world, been to a lot of places. It is nothing to write home about. If you're leaving your city that you were drafted in, that you've become an all-star in, for San Antonio, you are not just looking for greener pastures. You're looking pretty much for anywhere else except Portland. And especially because San Antonio was accustomed to winning and still having Kawhi Leonard in his prime, they're thinking, LaMarcus Aldridge's camp is thinking, hey, this may not be a better location, but damn it, they're at least about winning. That says something. Now, let's continue on. For the next 11 years, Portland completely fails to build a contender around Damian Lillard. Fails them. There was never a single team roster, ever, even when he went to the Western Conference Finals, that we ever considered them a championship contending team. CJ McCollum was his second best player, never made an all-star game. I thought he was a fringe all-star, but I thought they would have been better served packaging him and a bunch of assets to get actually a legitimate all-star that complemented Dame. They never did. They sold him that they could make an undersized, non-defensive backcourt work to win a championship. Now, let's be clear. They won games. They made the playoffs continuously. They were always going to get in. They were never going to win a championship. They were never going to get to the NBA Finals. the head coach, Terry Stotts, everybody knew he is not a championship contending coach. You could just see it. Failure to make in-game adjustments. His schemes consistently failed to work, especially within the playoffs. He failed to put together a strong enough defensive identity within the team that allowed them to sustain offensive slumps, especially in the playoffs. He made everything so centered around Dame that everyone else was so far on the fringes that if Dame did not have a supernova game, they didn't have a chance when it mattered the most in the playoffs. And yet they kept him around for far too long. Then they convinced Damian Lillard to re-sign for the Supermax, saying, hey, we're going to build a contender around you. And the moment he signs, they trade CJ McCollum for a bunch of throw-ins, for a bunch of bench role players, Larry Nance, Josh Hart. Now they're going to cite, hey, we had Anthony Simons in the wings. Anthony Simons is an unproven at the time young player. Every championship team knows you don't win with young guys. You don't. Their learning curve is too steep. You're not going to get there in time. And this is when, and I love how this Amin El Hassan puts it. He said they started rebuilding while Dame was there and just never told him. They kept telling him, oh yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. They were always rebuilding. Stocking up draft picks, getting assets to let go of for more draft picks. They eventually trade away Josh Hart, right, to the New York Knicks, who he helps in the playoffs, right? Ask him to make do with guys like Nasir Little, Walker, a bunch of no-name young guys. I don't care how talented they were. They hadn't proven anything. And now he's trying to play with Anthony Simons, Matisse Thybulle, who can't shoot, and always hurt Yusuf Nurkic. And they keep telling him and selling him on, we're trying to win a championship. And then it comes out, Damian Lillard basically spills the tea. And he says, yeah, last season at the end of the year, the last couple months, instead of competing for a championship, they tell me to sit out. It'll be better for them long term to get a higher draft pick that they can use as an asset to get a high-end player to help me win a championship. And so he does. He sits out. And lo and behold, they get Scoot Henderson, the number 3 pick in the draft. But apparently, after they get the pick, they never put the pick on the table to get another great player. I always thought they were going to go to Toronto and go get Pascal Siakam. That they were going to grab the contracts of Yusuf Nurkic, Jeremy Grant, maybe do a sign and trade with them, and go get Pascal Siakam. An all NBA talent. And of course, they're going to have to throw in that number 3 pick, Scoot Henderson. And they, at the last minute, said no. In fact, I don't think Portland ever even wanted to throw in that pick. And then the worst part about it is Damian Lillard explains at the beginning of the summer, at the draft, he's looking at them and saying, hey, I thought you were supposed to trade this pick to get me a player. And they say, well, we have a bunch of irons in the furnace. We got a bunch of irons in the fire. We got some things brewing. And so him and his agent do their due diligence and say, hey, what do you have in the fire? What do you have going? And they tell him, oh, okay, this team, this team, this team, this team. They say, bet, that sounds good. His agent then goes to each of those teams and says, hey, are you talking to Portland? And one by one, each of them responds with either no, they're no longer talking to him, the talks died a long time ago, or they've stalled a long time ago. And this is the point where Damian Lillard says, trade me. You're lying to me. You're not being honest. You're not being above board with me. And the moment he asks to be traded, and he says, I want to go to the Miami Heat. Apparently, according to the Miami Heat sources, Portland stops talking to the Miami Heat. This is why I said they are petty as fuck. This is why I don't mess with them. I'm cool. I have no problem not supporting an organization. I totally don't. I used to rock with Portland because I love Dame. Now when you do somebody dirty of a player that I follow, I can't mess with you. Because what it tells me is that if your superstar player can't trust you, how much can I? Are you really trying to win? You really trying to rebuild? Are you really putting forth a product on the court that's going to be entertaining to me, that I'm going to care about? Or are you just going to throw people out there, tell me it's going to be gold, and it's really just gold-plated silver or gold-plated nickel, right? Fool's gold. It's nothing that I'm going to be attracted to see. You know, it's one of these things where it's like a lot of times fans have a hard time like really reckoning with this concept that these organizations will lie to you. They will lie to you, just like the police. They're legally allowed to. And they can tell you, we're trying to win it all. And just like the Clippers back in the day, know what they're trying to do is get tax write-offs and make some money off of their team and use it for the benefit of their other corporations and businesses. Not every owner is built the same. Not every team governor, not every front office is on the same page and desire as the fan base. And this is where fans have to hold teams accountable. And it's sad that at the crescendo of this event of trading Damian Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks, you know what they do? They take Jrue Holiday, probably the only guard to legitimately slow down Damian Lillard in the playoffs when they played New Orleans. And they send him to the only other team that potentially had a chance to rival the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Finals run, the Boston Celtics. I, for one, hope Dame takes all of this personal. I'm talking about Michael Jordan, Supernova, Detroit Pistons, bad boys beating you up. Take it personal. And I want him to flame Jrue Holiday all season long. I love Jrue Holiday. Don't get me wrong. I think he's going to have a great season for Boston. But I hope Damian Lillard comes into those games so locked in. Because he knows Portland is setting him up just like Maximus in The Gladiator. Being set up by the Emperor to lose. They do not want him to win. They do not want it to be a narrative that he left an organization who could not put together a championship team, who could not put together a contender around their superstar player, and immediately leaves just like LeBron James and gets into the NBA Finals. Because what it does is it exposes this idea of small market teams, that it's somehow the money and it's the big market teams that are the threat and that are the issue. Instead of taking responsibility, that it's you, bruh. It's you. You are the issue. You kept Yusuf Nurkic around when he was hobbling and only playing 40-something games year after year after year after year. You kept CJ McCollum around long after you knew two undersized, non-defensive backcourt players could not defend well enough to slow down teams like the Golden State Warriors. The teams you're going to have to go through in order to win a championship. You were never built for a championship. And you never made moves that ever considered you were taking seriously winning a championship. This is the state of the Portland Trailblazers. Personally, I hope Scoot Henderson does what he's supposed to do. Balls out, becomes a superstar, get out of your rookie deal, get that max contract or super max. And then, after 3 years and your opt-out comes, opt out. Or let them know you're going to opt out. And then do just like Dame and say, I want to go to fill it in. I want to go to the Lakers. I want to go to the Clippers. I want to go to the Knicks. I want to go to a big market team that knows how to win. That's what I'm hoping. I hope Shaedon Sharp does the same thing. I hope Anthony Simons does the same thing. Because petty organizations like the Portland Trailblazers who don't want their guys to win, guys who've been loyal to them through and through, when everybody was telling Dame to leave, he said, nah, I'm not built like that. I'm doubling down on this squad. And he had to look at y'all and know that y'all was lying to him before he said, get me out of here. But as always, what do you all think of all this? I mean, let's not also forget about how he came back into the gym in Portland and then the front office person, Cronin, wouldn't even look at him, wouldn't even talk to him. Dame built Portland over the past 15 years. 11 years, technically. He's built that house, sold more jerseys, had some of the most epic playoff moments ever. The quadruple overtime against the Denver Nuggets, the send-offs against the Rockets in the playoffs, and the Oklahoma City Thunder against Paul George and Russell Westbrook. Some of the most epic playoff appearances. And he won't even talk to him? Nah, bruh. I'm good, bruh. It's good. Do you. Do you. Let me know what you think. Holler at me in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications, and I'm out. Peace.